Michuxus, Kochi Iyama, Kanioishe Dory Beats. My name is Dory Beats, and I'm a proud member of the Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians Tribal CERT program. I'd like to welcome you today on behalf of all of the California tribes and all of the tribal CERTs, my dear friends and colleagues from the Intertribal or Tribal Emergency Management Association. I would like to start off first by acknowledging the land that we stand on, the ancestors that came before us and the work that they've done, but the land that belongs to all of us. Thank you. Community emergency response teams are definitely needed in all of our lives. It takes an opportunity and value of preparedness and response and recovery, and an opportunity for our communities to train all our volunteers who then can respond in the event of a disaster. I come from a tribal community that has seen every man-made and natural disaster you can throw at us, and we are still here today. Community emergency response teams help us respond, help us prepare, and help us recover in the event of those disasters. I stand here with my dear friend Jake Heflin, president of Tribal Emergency Management Association, ITEMA, an awardee of one of the grants, and we are going to be embarking out on a long endeavor to bring CERT to all of the tribal communities in California. But it's with all of our partners, whether it's Listos or counties or fire safe councils, we have to work together. And I'm so excited to open up and welcome all of you today to this very important opportunity and release of funds for our communities. Disasters are going to hit us more and more. Mother Nature, the world is changing, and we have to prepare. But it's important upon each one of us to prepare, but also to help teach our communities to prepare so that we can assist our first responders when they are inundated, when they are maxed out already, responding to the catastrophic events that will occur in our lives. Join me in welcoming and thanking each of our CERT programs and taking the opportunity today to teach a little bit and talk about some of our amazing programs. Thank you.
How's everybody doing? My name is Salvin Chahal. I'm a poet and published author from Sacramento, California. And it's my honor and privilege to be here today and share a poem for today's launch. The world is changing in ways we never expected. Communities that are the most affected happen to be the most neglected, but I encourage you to put your differences aside and ask yourself, how do we protect it? How do we protect the California for all, which includes neighborhoods that are composed of languages from all around the globe? Intergenerational homes with cultures too rich to let go, and different able friends who happen to be the strongest people that we know. To protect, we must prepare. Neighbor-to-neighbor resources that are meant to be shared. Asking ourselves, how do we show up and take care of vulnerable communities who have slipped through the cracks when the earth starts to shake? Parents who carry children on their back when floods turn living rooms into lakes. And fires that ride the wind, leaving our loved ones displaced. No more never forgotten and always remembered. No more asking ourselves what we could have done better. No more standing by and just letting things be. Because Listos California begins with you and me. Thank you.
Well, let's begin by thanking both Dory and Salvin for those great remarks and performance. Thank you. I want to welcome you to the kickoff of the California for All Emergency Preparedness Campaign, which has just been renamed Listos California. This is where you cheer. I'm Karen Baker, and I've been tapped to chair this effort. Listos California is a movement that's been launched by our Governor, Gavin Newsom, and the legislature. They've came together to decide to meaningfully engage vulnerable communities to ensure that everyone is ready and prepared for all types of disasters. We've gathered all the partners and those who are the backbone of this campaign to engage all vulnerable communities. And today you're going to have an opportunity to hear from a few of them. Listos California is built on the power of both community-based organizations that represent diverse and vulnerable communities, as well as civic assets such as CERT, Listos, Fire Safe Councils, AmeriCorps California, and AmeriCorps NCCC. That's why I'm so pleased to begin by introducing a couple of our AmeriCorps great representatives, Jay-Z and Roshan. Please join me.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? My name is Jay, and I'm with the AmeriCorps program with the American Red Cross. Woo! And I serve here in Sacramento and throughout northeastern California. Let me tell you about the AmeriCorps program. The AmeriCorps is a national service, which means public or community work in which citizens serve for a time period to help the community with different issues. That's ranging from education to environment, to disaster services. It is a way of giving back to the community through a volunteer service programs, such as an AmeriCorps like me. As a member in California, my mission is to increase disaster preparedness in the areas of greatest need before disasters strike and help build resilient communities by providing disaster preparedness education and life-saving skills such as CPR and first aid, and also by responding and serving communities affected by disasters. The reason why I serve specifically within the disaster field is because it lines up with my personal values. My late father just taught me to give wholeheartedly. I didn't know what to give wholeheartedly means until I became a national service member. I learned that it's not just about donating money or your clothes, your food. It's also about giving your time, your effort, knowledge, and expertise, literally your blood, sweat, and tears, to those affected by disasters. Making a difference is very rewarding, and I believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Roshan Perry, and I'm here on behalf of AmeriCorps National Civilian Community Corps, or NCCC for short. NCCC is a team-based program that engages young people 18 to 24 years old in service throughout America. Originally from Fresno, California, which is one of the communities that this campaign is supporting, I personally understand what it is to need assistance and to also be of service to those who are most at risk. I have had the opportunity to serve with NCCC both as a member and now as a staff, and campaigns like Listos California, or California for All, and programs like NCCC support communities like my own. NCCC has a long history of partnering with California volunteers in response to disasters like the Camp Fire in Butte County and the Oroville Dam. This campaign will allow NCCC and California volunteers to partner to not only respond in times of disaster, but also to provide the important support to communities in helping them prepare and mitigate these devastating disasters. NCCC's partnership with California volunteers will be focused on providing preparedness information to all California, especially those rural areas that are often overlooked but greatly impacted by the more and more devastating disasters that are occurring in California. This partnership will also be a great learning opportunity for our members to gain experience in emergency management and all phases of disaster services. It will allow them to serve in communities that will help them experience unique and diverse groups of people. NCCC's mission is to strengthen communities and develop leaders, and we are committed to serving and supporting California for these communities, for our members, and for all of California. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay-Z and Roshan, and thank you especially for your service. That's really important. Next to the mic, we're going to have a remarkable asset to the state of California. A woman, Grace Koch, who is the Chief Deputy Director at Cal OES, and such a strong supporter and advocate of building out community assets that this campaign represents. Please join me in welcoming Grace Koch.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me to join you today in this important discussion. And the words from the previous speakers I took to heart, and it is so encouraging at this time when there's funding and support available to further these efforts. I'm excited today to also talk about the important next steps in supporting all of our communities to be better prepared to respond to emergencies and disasters. As many of you know, Cal OES coordinates the state's emergency readiness capabilities through local, regional, and statewide planning and training efforts, exercises, and other program administration. We also lead the state's multi-agency coordination to respond to and recover from large-scale events. As all of us know, we have seen firsthand how climate change has created a new and negatively impactful reality for wildfires, floods, mud flows, and other disasters in California. And all too often, our diverse and socially vulnerable populations are disproportionately impacted by these events. California has a mutual aid system, a neighbor helping neighbor process designed to provide additional resources, public safety equipment, personnel, supplies to a local jurisdiction when their resources are depleted, overwhelmed, or exhausted by an event. However, a large-scale event, such as those that we have seen recently, it may be several days before first responders can reach all of those in a community, which is why it is critically important, since government resources can only go so far, that we are empowering California's community-based organizations, like those gathered here today, and many of you, to provide emergency preparedness information, resources, support to those vulnerable and diverse populations. This campaign is so heartwarming and important, and the time has never been more important. And the individuals standing here today represent an important new effort to boost our state level of preparedness across California by engaging the statewide, locally based organizations who are the trusted agents to whom people turn to first for information, support, guidance, and resources. You've heard about the CERT teams, the NCCCs, AmeriCorps, Listos, fire safe councils, veterinarian organizations, and many others like them play a critical role in ensuring that California's most vulnerable are ready when disasters and emergencies strike. So on behalf of all of Cal OES, and for me personally, for joining in this effort to make California safer and better prepared, and for me personally, my 90-year-old mother, who is not only deaf, but also English is her second language, I want to thank you for reaching people just like her throughout our state and providing them with the support and information that they need. So I'd like to now introduce two representatives from local organizations who are doing just that, making a difference in their communities. Emilia Gasca from the El Sol Neighborhood Education Center in San Bernardino, and Lindsay Callahan from the United Way of Fresno and Madera counties. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amelia Gasca, and I am a program manager at El Sol Neighborhood Educational Center. Just in this past year alone, natural disasters have claimed the homes, but most importantly, the lives of many Californians. This is why we would like to thank Governor Newsom and the state legislator for giving us the opportunity to help our vulnerable community members in San Bernardino County to be better prepared in case of a natural disaster. El Sol Neighborhood Educational Center is a grassroots nonprofit organization with the mission to empower disadvantaged and vulnerable communities to eliminate disparities with the use of community health workers or promotores. With 400,000 households in San Bernardino receiving financial aid assistance 180,000 residents still not having health insurance, 222,000 residents living with a disability, 290,000 residents with very limited English, and 243,000 senior residents is why we need an innovative, comprehensive, community-driven, culturally and linguistically appropriate disaster preparedness, outreach, and education campaign for those who are usually left to fend for themselves. Again, thank you, Governor Newsom, for the Listos California Emergency Preparedness Campaign. We are super excited and thrilled to empower and educate our San Bernardino residents to be better prepared for any future natural disasters we may encounter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Callahan, and it is my honor to serve as the President and CEO of United Way, Fresno and Madera counties. I am a child of the Central Valley, and Fresno is my home. Madera is my second home. It's a very special place at the center of this beautiful state. I am, on behalf of the 1.2 million residents of Fresno and Madera counties, I thank Governor Newsom for continuing to highlight the incredible assets and the important needs of my communities. Far too often, my community is overlooked. We slip through the cracks, but not this time. California for All is an incredible opportunity, and now is the time to prepare. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. And the preparation must be sensitive to access issues, culture, language, and more. We truly mean California for all. We must ensure that our vulnerable communities are protected, and we must make sure that we are all ready in time of disaster. Now is the time. We will build systems, knowledge, change behaviors, and build a new culture of preparedness. We have everyday superheroes out there. We just need to find them and get them ready. It starts with me, it starts with you. Let's get ready now. Listos.
The next person I'd like to bring up to the mic is Suva Tai, who has been serving as our Director of Volunteer Programs. Now, I don't know how many of you know Suva, but I can think of no more dedicated, creative leader who cares so passionately about the CERT and Listos programs that he has served as a conduit to, someone who really can get anything done because he believes in the power of those resources and people who really want to be out there making a difference. Please give me a big round of applause for this great state servant, Suva Tai.
So dedicated, I don't have any notes for my speaking points today. Just really quickly, a quick primer on the CERT program. CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Team. It is a 30-year-old program that started in LA and has been adopted by FEMA and has 28 programs nationwide. And these programs train community citizens on what to do during a disaster, how to put out a small fire, how to conduct light search and rescue, how to do medical triage. So you think 2,800 programs, that's a very strong program. Well, let me tell you a couple of sad stories. I've been the administrator for the CERT program in the state for about 10 years now. And most of the time, programs will call and say, we want to start a CERT program. We are afraid of what's going to happen to our community when a disaster hits. We hear about this great program, how do we get started? And I'll tell them, well, you need this kind of infrastructure, you need these equipment and tools, you need instructors, and you're going to need about $5,000 to $10,000 to get started. And I can hear the gasp in their voice. Because they're calling the state saying, you're the state administrator, we're trying to adopt your program, how do we get started? And I end the conversation with, you're going to need $5,000 to $10,000. I had to do that many, many times. But now with this campaign, with this funding, I don't have to say that anymore. So I have a couple of great news and announcements to make today. A couple of weeks ago, Stockton, Mario, at Franklin High School in Stockton said, we want to start CERT and Listos so that our students can take this training before they move on, which is a great idea. And I went through this normal spiel of this is what you're going to need, and you're going to need $5,000 to $10,000 worth of equipment. But then I didn't stop there. And I said, guess what? We have funding to support that now. We can help you purchase this equipment so that now you can not just deliver your first set of training, but continue to do training next year and the year after that. so that generations of high school students can now get this training. Sonoma County had the most devastating fires in the state of California as of 6 months ago, right? The most devastating fires. They used to have a CERT program, but that went away. Lack of funding, lack of support. But in the wake of the fires, the citizens said, we need to be more prepared. What can we do? So same story. I do the same pitch, but now I say there's funding to support you too. Butte County, who superseded Sonoma County as the most devastating fire in California history, same story. They did not have a CERT program. Their citizens did not have the opportunity to have this training, and now they do. Because of this campaign, not only there's their funding, but there's support. So their county is supporting of it. Their sheriff's department is supporting of it. They're dedicating staff to support it. They've given them a budget to support it, and now we can support it. And that's what this campaign means. It's a new day for preparedness. We no longer have to tie our shoestrings together, try to MacGyver how to prepare our communities. There's going to be new partners that are coming out, new endorsers coming out, new partners coming out. And thank you all for being new partners for this program.
And now I'd like to turn the mic over to a very special leader here in Sacramento to announce some very exciting news that benefits our hometown, our mayor, and a very dear friend. That would be Darrell Steinberg.
Thank you, Karen. Mwah. Thank you very much, Karen. It's an honor to be here with you, and there are so many people and individuals to thank. Governor Newsom, obviously, for leading the way in the California legislature, and Cal volunteers and Cal OES, and all of its hardworking public servants, and my friends from Valley Vision and AmeriCorps, and of course the Sacramento CERT team, Chapter 22, in the house. And I know I'm leaving individuals or organizations out, but please know that nothing great happens without real leadership and with a lot of people caring. And so I begin with this. Que somos todos una sola comunidad. Not bad, huh? Que somos todos una sola comunidad. We are all one community. And I think it is fair to say, when it comes to emergency response in California, of which tragically we are all too familiar as Californians, that in our hearts and in our actions, we rally around communities that are impacted and affected by all kinds of disasters. I often find myself saying that if only we treated the everyday challenges and crises in life the way we treat disasters, we would solve homelessness, we would solve all of the other problems that we face, because that, in a positive way, is the spirit of California and of Californians. They rally around those who are hurting and suffering. This $50 million California effort attempts, and I think in a very bold way, to take that commitment to another level. Because what this says is that preparedness and prevention is every bit as important as how we respond to the disaster once it happens. In fact, they're obviously related. And that focusing on all of our diverse populations and not having a monolithic and surely a single language approach to making sure that all of our communities are safe is imperative in a city that prides itself on its diversity, its inclusion, and on our philosophy of welcoming people from all parts of the world. And so I'm most excited that Listos, which is, I know, the statewide campaign of being ready, we are also going to have a very specific and clear Sacramento part of Listos. Part of this effort is going to be to fund the first Listos chapter in Sacramento focused on the Spanish language population in the greater Sacramento area, to make sure that all people who speak predominantly Spanish, for the Latinx community, by the Latinx community, that we provide at least 8 hours of Spanish language preparedness to make sure that people know how to help themselves and help their neighbors in case of a disaster or an emergency. Not 1 hour, not a flyer, not a website only, but actual 8 hours of preparedness. This will save lives. This is about helping neighbors help themselves. This is about helping a neighbor tell their neighbor in an urgent but kind way, please turn your gas line off. And other similar warnings that will help protect the people. This program will grow out of the well-established CERT chapter that we have here in Sacramento, Chapter 22, and will bolster an already strong networks of first responders and preparedness activities to make sure that when we talk about preparedness, we are inclusive of all of our communities. I'm very proud to be here today, to know that California is doing all the right things by all of its people. There are some things we can't prevent, the state of nature, but we sure as heck can prepare, and we can protect, and we can do so way ahead of time so that people feel confident and comfortable that they can help themselves, help their families, and help their neighbors. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're very proud to have not only a great campaign named Listos California, but a phenomenal program that also shares that name, Listos. And the executive director, Liliana Encinas, please join us.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Liliana Encinas. I am the program director for Listos. I wear another hat. I work for a fire department myself as well, Santa Barbara County, and I have seen the impact of the Listos program firsthand. I have seen how a culturally appropriate, culturally relevant, linguistically relevant program has changed lives for our non-English speakers. And with that, I am going to address our non-English speakers. A toda nuestra comunidad californiana hispanohablante, este mensaje es para ustedes. Ahora es el momento de estar preparados. Estamos en una campaña que, gracias con el apoyo del gobernador Newsom, podemos tener los fondos para brindarles a ustedes ese apoyo que necesitan para estar preparados. Hemos visto cómo nuestra comunidad ha sido devastada por estos desastres naturales que nos han ocurrido en los últimos 2 años. Y entonces empieza en la familia, empieza en la casa, empieza con ustedes. Y es muy sencillo empezar con un plan familiar. Y de ahí vamos a ir creciendo y vamos a seguir preparándonos para que cuando venga esa devastación estemos preparados y no nos vaya a consumir el impacto. Y con eso los invito, me siento muy honrada de prepararlos y de comenzar el programa de Listos aquí en Sacramento. Muchas gracias.
Just a few more comments that I'll just make to wrap this up. First of all, thank you for staying with us in this heat. We have wonderful food trucks and water ready and waiting for you. I just wanted to let you know about some important developments with this campaign. All $50 million has been granted out to our community-based organizations in absolute record time. We have 24 organizations that represent 24 counties that collectively received $19 million. In partnership with these nonprofits, we are now taking time to diligently understand the unique makeup and needs of each of these counties to ensure that we are engaging the most vulnerable communities. I need to also let you know those dollars that went out the door by our partners at Cal OES, they also approved $1 million to support pet and farm animals during emergency response and recovery, $1 million grant. Let's clap for that. We have also funded CERT, Listos, and Fire Safe Councils, and AmeriCorps programs like the American Red Cross, who's with us today, at $15.6 million. Big round. And Valley Vision, who has been a wonderful and totally impressive, impactful support to all of our community-based organizations, and our cultural partner, Soul Collective, will support this public outreach campaign for $14.3 million. Today's announcement of the awardees sounds off the official kickoff and our charge to engage 1 million diverse and vulnerable Californians. This movement invites all Californians to be a part of emergency preparedness and response. We all need to see ourselves as first responders to protect yourself, your families, and your communities. Thank you on behalf of the Governor of California, and let's get Listos California. Thank you.